yes, you're here. And if you're not subscribed, why don't you do so now? Well, I'll tell you why not. 2/3 of my videos are about my stupid wagon, and the remaining 33 1/3% are usually car shows that are all filmed in my same predictable way. So happy tappy and tricky clicky and subscribe to Fuel Burn Media. Side note, Fuel Burn Media is an anagram for numbed failure, which is obviously appropriate. This is yet another unsummoned update in audio-visual format of the custard cake tin, soon to become the custard Barra cake tin. Custard barramundi. Let's Google that. Abort! Although... abort! So, the beige tissue box, aka the wheeled Toblerone, has garnered some attention since I posted my last video announcing that I was indeed going forwards with the Barra swap. I actually posted that Barra announcement video in 2 Facebook groups, and probably, thanks to the provocative thumbnail, most people commented immediately with their advice, rather than actually watching the video. Again, I blame myself, because if 2021 has taught me anything, it's taught me that I'm a stupid asshole who knows nothing about everything, and everyone else on the planet knows everything about everything. I can only sit here, slowly devolving into some kind of primordial ooze, while metaphorically fly fishing in a stream of unobtainable wonder at just how perfect and happy everyone else's collective lives must be. Anyway, perhaps the thumbnail should have looked more like this. This is not a picture. This is a thumbnail for a link to a YouTube video. In the video, I announce that I have chosen a Barra over a 351, and I explain why. You can watch it if you like, or you can, just start typing stuff without watching it. It's all good. Have a nice day, or not. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or how to feel. Geez, now I've done it. What can I do to make the heart-soaked betrayal you're feeling go away? Should I go? I'll just go. With that overreaction said, let's put on our wellies and leave Rant Mansion and go splash about in some data puddles. You see, because so many people were willing to opine on a 351 versus Barra topic, I decided to tally all the comments that weren't slack-jawed, unmitigated idiocy, and this is what I found. Of the 160 comments that had a clear choice, 120 went for the 351. The clear winner. The bulk of those 120 salivating over the intoxicating sound of the mighty V8. And I have to agree. I had a Roush quad-tip exhaust installed on my old 2017 Mustang GT, so the Coyote 5.0 could really howl as I sent it down to pit straight at Sandown. However, I've already alluded to why sound is not a driver for me on this car in my previous video, and I'll reiterate that reasoning towards the end of this video too. Coming in a distant second, but getting more votes than I would have predicted, is the Barra. The Barra voters cited things like power on a budget, cheap to maintain, and reliability. This is not to say a 351 can't be reliable. Anyway, these reasons are getting a little bit closer to what's motivating me for this car. Then 2 people said leave the car as it is, which I completely understand but absolutely cannot do. 2 others said make it electric, which I know is a joke, but it will probably start happening to some classic cars at some point. And finally someone said LS it, which is crazy, and there's actually some great examples out there already, like this Street Machine featured XE wagon and this Street Machine XD sedan. Street Machine, on sale now! So it's one thing to hashtag Barra the world, but it's another to actually price it up and do it. A reminder, I am no mechanic, plus I simply do not have the time to toil my weeknights and weekends away dabbling in something I know very little about. So after some wise and sage advice from my favourite mechanics, the XD and I met with, well, let's call him my friendly local engineer. I will point out at the making of this video, no Barra has been purchased. No wrench has been turned, it's all theory and no prac at this point in time. Anyway, my interaction with my friendly local engineer was very positive and extremely insightful. Despite this, I prefer not to name him in a YouTube video because the internet can be a savage place, and why would I want to bring that extra complexity into someone's business? He may choose to promote this build as another successfully engineered car in the future, but with respect, I will leave that up to his discretion. So I had previously shared what's motivating me to do the Barra swap. Things like I need the car to start every morning in winter at 5 a.m. in freezing temperatures and drive away quietly without waking the street. I need to be able to have the option to drive 600 k's that day and come back home like it was nothing and then do it again the next day. I'm not saying I'll always be doing those sort of kilometres, but I'd like to have the option. I also went on to say I'm not chasing power for this car. I will eventually buy another project car at some point, and that will be the loud, fun, fast weekend car. But this car essentially needs to be a Falcon taxi. Now that the purpose of this car's future was clear, my friendly local engineer set about compiling a build plan, which is essentially a list of things that need to be added, removed or changed to meet engineering standards. To be clear, the build plan is not an explicit set of instructions on every nut and bolt. It's implied you or your mechanic know what you're doing. It's more of a guide to try and eliminate any surprises at the end of the build and ensure everything is nice and legal and insurable. The build plan is completely bespoke for every car, so what works for me may not work for you. The build plan for my beige behemoth included modern front brakes, pinning fuel and brake lines appropriately with correct clearances, new pre-tension seatbelts all round, the exhaust mounted in a similar position to the original, the vehicle to pass decibel tests and sniff tests, and there was more, but you get the idea. So if you're thinking of doing something similar and you've landed on this video, the single most important thing I can tell you is to meet with an engineer before doing anything with the car and have a very honest and transparent conversation about the current state of the car and what you want to have done to the car. Alrighty then, in the next video I anticipate the Barra and assorted goodies will have been acquired and the car will have been booked in for its elective surgery. I'll also shed some light in the form of words from my face on whether the Barra will be naturally aspirated or turbo. That ought to rattle a few cages. Okay, see you, bye!